So yeah, we were talking about Elon Musk. Let's go.
That was
Yeah, that
fun.
was a very quick intro. Like it's going to be an interlude episode, so we're not going to be going into a specific topic. We might take some time to talk about animation a bit later, but it's just going to be a quick a quick chat to because we had like a 2 week hiatus, and we figured it would be a good way to just come back to the basics. And next time I'll have my new microphone, so it will be better.
Oh, you haven't installed it yet?
I just ordered it on Monday. It's coming tomorrow.
Oh, it looks very professional, I have to say.
Yeah, that's what my. I told you I have a friend who works for a publishing company and he has a
Yeah.
podcast as well. That's the one he's using there.
Oh,
He's the
okay.
one who recommended it to me.
Interesting.
You
Plus, you
you
can
have a.
also record your voice and everything. You can sing. You
Yeah,
obviously have to
I'm not going again. Same as last time. I'm not going to inflict that on anyone. Um, you're on your laptop, right? So you have a webcam.
sing.
Hmm?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe for the next episode we can try a video recording
Yeah, sure.
because I also ordered a cam for my main computer. I
Of
didn't want
course.
to record from the laptop.
Yeah, the only problem with my laptop is that the webcam is in the middle. So when I'm looking at the actual screen, I'm kind of looking up.
Uh,
We can give it a shot. It doesn't.
I don't. I'm not sure I understand. What do you mean it's in the middle?
So you know how on most laptops the web camera is at the top,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Well, mine is actually very close, actually in the middle of it, on the bottom of the
Oh,
screen.
that's an odd placement.
It's a very stupid placement, I have to say.
Yeah. And does it look fucked up when you turn it on? Because that's the worst angle you could be filming someone
Yeah,
from.
yeah, it looks exactly how you imagine it would look.
Okay. So yeah. Also, as I was saying, we might have an audience tonight. We might have one person listening live, so that would be new if they decide to join. But yeah, so we. Anyway, so you were saying yeah about Twitter.
Yes, there's a lot of memes on the internet about Twitter and that people don't understand. Like, why the fuck did Elon Musk buy Twitter for 44 million when I can just get it for free on my app? Which is true.
Wait.
You didn't get it? Like, people are making memes on the internet that Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion while I can buy it for free on my app store.
Okay, I understand the technical side of the humor that is trying to be.
My God, you
Anyway,
sound like
yeah,
a robot. You understand the technical side of the humor?
I understand human humor. No, no,
So, like,
I
human humor.
understand the point, but yeah, but it's also not funny.
It is funny and not funny. Yeah, it's I don't know,
Yeah,
cheap
it's
comedy. Let's say. I found it amusing because there are a lot of them.
so yeah. I'm still waiting for. It's still too fresh to like speculate on what's going to happen. Most likely, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. I'm not sure he's just going to barge in and remove certain restrictions that have been um, creeping up in the past few years. I highly doubt that he would do that.
Why not?
I don't know. No, it's just a wait and see.
Yeah, I view him more as this century's Great Gatsby, to be honest.
Yeah, except as if I recall properly, Gatsby didn't want to be seen.
Yeah, yeah, he does like to be seen. Yeah. Did you know he's like a lot of people make fun also? I found it very hilarious that people on the internet are like bashing him and oh, he's a white supremacist and this and that. And like, dude, he's fucking African American, like literally. Like, no, no, because he ain't black. Like, he's from Africa. He's from South Africa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he's also the thing is that he's also coming from an apartheid family, so He's an apartheid baby.
Oh yeah, that's how it works, of course.
Yep, that would that usually tends to stay in your name,
But
whether or not you're in agreement with the system. Like you, in that case, this is actually a very valid case of like systemic racism. And until like the 90s, it was still something that was
oh yeah,
acceptable.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's
So
actually very
given his
interesting.
age, he was he lived through it.
Yeah, he did, but um, like it's a very weird thing in South Africa in the sense that you have a country where actually the minority is deciding all the rules and oppressing the majority, and I found that very odd that you can get away with it. Well, they didn't eventually, but
Hmm.
it was very
But
strange.
that was the case in lots of places, like in the U.S. when the first people arrived, like when the first Europeans arrived there, like they were enslaving people and stuff like that, but they were not
What?
the majority at first. Like from the natives, they were fewer fewer whites than natives.
Yeah, but that's a bit different because the technology was very different. As
Mm.
as in, well, see, this is one thing that I get very frustrated with when I talk to people regarding, because like a lot of people when you talk about Native Americans and the colonies there, they immediately think of white Europeans coming and taking the poor Indians' lands and killing all the buffalo and like an Indian shedding a tear or something like that.
But no, that video of the Indian shedding a tear is actually an Italian actor. So let me already like remove that. And
That's good to know.
but for the rest, what don't you agree with?
Like it's wrong. That's not what happened. Like
Okay.
most of the things that are promulgated on the internet nowadays about Europe colonizing the Americas is mostly just dumb. It's not right at all, and it's just based on and this is just my regard on radical leftist propaganda.
I am not sure I can follow you there, to be honest. Like this
Okay, so,
seems that I would need to see like
so let's
some
take
proper research on that.
let me give you an example.
Yeah. Hmm.
So people always complain that the colonizers took our land and never gave it back and kind of treated us badly as in the way people treated slaves, for example, badly. The idea that Europeans came and took Indian land implies that the Indian people were somehow, which is referring obviously to the Native American people,
Yes. Hmm.
is referring to them as somehow being a homogenous group, and you took their land. But the reality was that in Europe you did have clear states with clear borders, whereas the societies in the Americas was tribal at best. They did not reach even medieval status, and this was during what 1600s, 1800s. So you had a
You're.
lot of tribes that fought each other brutally, I might add,
Mhm.
and would often migrate. So the idea of this was Indian territory. First off, you would have to say, okay, which Native American tribe territory was it, and from which period was it? Because they very often change territories.
Yeah, the thing is that ultimately, when you look at it, oh, we have our guest actually. I figured that something popped here. Um,
Hello, welcome.
yeah, welcome. I don't think she'll be talking. She'll just listen in.
Just the fact that I was able to say this to our first viewers makes me feel precious.
Yeah, we should definitely try more like live show, but we need to like have a modicum amount of followers to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so the they might not have had a, like a proper settled land, which is actually a wrong statement. I'm just pursuing your point here. The end result remains the same. They were um, their territories were taken away. It doesn't matter if they were just living in one area or they were moving around. Ultimately, they ended up with no land at all before it was restored under the guise of reserves for them.
Yeah,
So their lands were taken.
yeah. My question is, so in the sense that a lot of people complain that, oh, the white man came
Yeah.
and took my land.
How
Wait a minute,
how
this was
how
fucking
is
1482.
okay? So how um
People were taking land from everywhere, from everyone. Everyone was taking land from everyone as much as they could.
yeah, sure. So yeah, okay. Yeah, I see
I'm
what
not
you mean.
saying it's
So
okay. It's just that's reality.
uh, just give me a second. I'm going to pause real quick the recording. I don't think she can hear us.
Okay.
Uh, just give me a second. I think she might hear us now. Can you hear us now? I'm just waiting for. Okay, perfect. So, uh, yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, I guess I understand the point that you're making in the sense that it was uh, might makes right, and there is a case, I guess, to be made for not looking at it through our modern lens, so to speak.
You can't look through history with the moral values of today. You can't look at history like that. That's not a way to study history because laws change, morals change. So things that my grandfather maybe used to say to me when I was a kid are maybe not as acceptable to say now, or vice versa. But the idea remains that you can't blame. First off, when you blame a certain group of people, when you say, "Oh, the white man came in," who is the white man? Because I don't identify as white. Well, not in the sense that I'm not white. Obviously, I'm white, but I'm much more than that.
I don't know. I don't know that you're white, dude. You're so hairy. I'm not sure your skin color. What your skin color actually is.
Actually, people when I was in high school, a lot of people made fun of me because I was more brown than the rest of them. So they would tell me that I was a gypsy. Obviously, this made
Which is, yeah, in Romanian context, that's
I
quite
would,
the
I would
insult.
say Eastern European in general, or even European standards. If you call someone a gypsy, it's
To be
not very
fair, Europe, yeah, European at large, because they're not exactly model citizens or seen as model citizens in the
like
western
the
part of
haters
Europe
view.
either.
Like
Yeah,
when I see memes with Americans hating on black people and calling them names and whatnot, I'm like, motherfucker, come to Europe. Like you'll understand. And people are like, oh no, why do you hate gypsies? And just the same as white Americans hating black people. I'm like, eh, just
yeah.
come, take a ride, take a trip, Vince.
Yeah, it's not the same. Well, again, to be fair, they have different callings, so to speak. Like, you have the musicians and stuff. So not all of them are the ones that are causing trouble.
No, first off, it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with color, because in Romania, for
Oh
example,
no, no, no.
people.
I wasn't talking about color. I was talking about the gypsy in general as a people, the Roma, actually.
I
Um,
don't agree with that term. Fuck Sarkozy because he's the one who came up with it.
Roma.
Yep,
How come they call themselves Roma then?
they don't do that. They've been doing that since 2007. Since
Seriously?
we had
Okay.
to adopt certain laws, whereas not to discriminate them because the word gypsy, țigan in Romanian,
Yeah.
was considered pejorative. So
Okay.
the EU made us change and made it a criminal offense to actually call someone gypsy, and come with another term so that we would include them in society. So we somehow came up with the name Roma, which is like has two R's. So whenever a Western European sees
Two
like
R's?
with two R's. Yeah, that's how you spell Roma.
With R-R-O-M-A? Huh. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen it written, but yeah, by the time I arrived in Romania, it was 2015, so that was the common term in use.
Yeah, but we don't use that. Like
Hmm.
it's only common maybe in like on TV or in certain institutions, but people generally never use that, and they don't use it amongst themselves.
And what about the term Romani?
Same thing.
It's the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem because what does that sound familiar to you, Romani?
Romanian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what happened was in 2007 when we were forced to change the way we talked about them and called them the Roma people or Romani. Um, when we were allowed to go in the EU, the first people who actually went abroad were people who had nothing to lose and just wanted to make a quick buck.
Hmm.
That would be the poorest classes of society, which included regular Romanians as well, and especially gypsies. So what they did was they all went to Austria, Germany, France, UK, and they found out that Western Europeans were very lax when it came to security of not that expensive items in stores. For example, shoes or certain clothes or something like that. So what our fellow boys would do was they would go there, they would steal a bunch of shit, they would be caught, and they would be extradited to Romania, and they would have like an interdiction, like a they would forbade them to go into that particular country for I don't know 10 years, 5 years, 7 years. So they would just change countries every few years, and that's how a lot of us would get like the latest Nikes or phones or whatever because they were all stolen, and you actually knew people who stole. It was that common.
Okay. Well, I
So
guess during communism, there's not much coming into the country, right? Anyways. Or are you talking after?
I'm
Sorry.
talking 2007, starting
Oh, okay. But
2007, yeah, because that's when we entered the EU.
okay. And you didn't have dealings because Ceausescu had been gone for a while at that time, and you were still not getting a lot of the products.
Oh yeah, shit, man. I remember like so we had like Cartoon Network because we're going to talk about animation afterwards
Hmm.
later on. So I would get. I remember I told you I had a German nanny when I was a kid, so I spoke
Yeah.
German until 7 or 8, and I used to watch RTL
Da,
and Rosie all the
ja,
time.
das glaube ich immer noch nicht, dass du
Yeah,
Deutsch gesprochen hast.
and I would also have Cartoon Network when they were good, and I would always see these commercials for like Kinder Chocolate and what else, all sorts of sweets and
Yeah.
cereals. I remember the cereals, Cinnamins.
The way you're saying it, you did get it through the German television, I can tell. Because
That-
the pace and tone of voice is exactly the one from the commercials that they're using in Germany.
exactly, that's what I remember. Yeah, they were lovely. I used to watch Pinky on their brain
Yeah,
often.
Pinky and the Brain. It's
Yeah.
Pinky and the Brain.
Although I don't remember how was it in German. I found it so funny.
Um, I don't think I've ever seen it in German. I had Cartoon Network in English.
Yeah, no, I had Cartoon Network in English as well. It's just that it would show on ProSieben, so it was in German, and it was like der Pinky on der Brain, der Pinky on the, and I forget the rest.
Hirn. So it would be Hirn in German
Sure,
for anyway. But yeah, I think the cartoons I was watching. Actually, we might as well just get into that topic since we're here already.
fair enough.
So
Yeah, I
the
wanted to let you know that so before
wait,
2007, we were talking
how
about
did we
sweets.
start this? We were talking about white people taking. We were talking about Elon Musk. How the fuck did we get here?
And it's a specialty of ours.
Yeah. So yeah. So let's get back to 2007. Yeah.
Yeah, so by then, I was very familiar with what the fuck was it? Kellogg's Frosties and well, Cineminis, and all sorts of cereal that I would just see on television and I never got to see in real life. Chocobons as well, and all these sweets. So only after we entered the EU did we start having imports of such sweets. So I was eating chocobons, for example, since I was like 6, 7 years old because of my German nanny.
Hmm.
But I only got to re-eat them again when I was a grown man. Only after we entered the EU because that's when they started to import all the good stuff.
Apropos of chocobons, I don't know if you've seen. It might have just been in France, but they had to recall a lot of the products in the past month or so, like the chocobons, the Kinder eggs, and a lot of others,
Oh, why?
because they were laced in salmonella. They had a big problem with
Good.
production.
Wow.
Yeah,
Huh, that's
yeah,
bad.
yeah. I don't eat chocolate, so I'm fine. But
Yeah, me as well.
some people in my house were very, very distraught at the idea, especially with Easter.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I'm fine with that actually. I don't eat sweets generally, so
Yeah,
only if I smoke. And if I smoke weed, then I actually have a nickname for when I smoke weed. I was told the vacuum
yeah,
because I can I
yeah,
can eat anything, and I do need to eat. Like I'm starving. Then my greatest
yeah.
accomplishment was I ate ketchup on a hand once. I was very hungry.
Yeah, as I said, I just fall asleep, so I don't even get the time to. I don't even have the time to
Get
feel
hungry.
hungry. Yeah, yeah. By like 15 minutes after I'm out, so that's also why I don't smoke it. Like it's one of the main reasons.
Mm,
And yeah, so to get back to why were we talking? Oh yeah, the purchase of Twitter.
hmm
That went far. The- yeah, so I think we should give it like a few months to see how things change if they do change. They might change in a way that is not exactly visible. So yeah, it's going to be wait and see. What I do know is that as soon as the talk started, I should have bought the stocks because they went up like 30% in a month or
Yeah,
something like that.
that's true.
Yeah, that was dumb not buying those. And I knew the moment the news came in my circles, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be GameStop all over again," and I'm not going to be in.
Mm.
And yeah, I was too slow, and then I was like, "Okay, now it's too late to get in."
Well, it depends. I mean, if he's going to make some moves in the next few months, the stocks will rise even more.
Mm,
Because from like I kind of watched him a bit, followed him for some time now. From what I gather, he's obviously a genius, but he's all about free speech, but like in the most brutal way. So he will let everyone speak, and I don't see that as a bad thing.
yeah, but the thing is that for the stock prices to continue rising, like they might still rise. That's not the issue, but at some point the company has to pay dividends to the shareholders, and for that it needs to make money. And I'm not sure that Twitter has the income capabilities to actually sustain a higher price.
I don't even understand how the fuck do they make money. Honestly, the whole
Yeah,
idea of Twitter sounds very dumb to me. I don't even understand how they're successful.
I can't. I don't. It's I don't know. It's too. It's like TikTok. It's too short, too distracting. It
Yeah, but TikTok I can get. You can see something. Here it's just words. I can just read a book.
Yeah, but a book has more than 240 characters, or I don't know how many characters they have now on Twitter. I think they
I think it
went.
was 170 characters tops.
But I think they went over that. Like they made it a bit longer
So
for
basically,
what it's worth.
so basically, what you have there is just a bunch of entitled people who think they can sum up some grand idea or whatever in just a few phrases. basically,
Yep. Sound bites. Yeah, that's what it is.
that's just
I
dumb.
guess some people have a use for it. I can see for like commercial promotions or stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah. I can definitely see that.
keep in touch with your customer base. But as a
Make fun commercials, very short.
yeah, or to just read the tweets from Wendy's or stuff like that. But to the average user, except um, following someone like who is putting out news maybe or linking an article or something like that, that's I mean that's nice, that I can understand. It's an easy way
Mm.
to get quick access to information, but as a discussion forum, I think it's an awful thing.
Yeah, you can have a discussion forum with 200 and something characters. It's just some things are not going to be said. People are going to interpret. Shit, I got in so many fights with my ex girlfriends just because of that. Just because of text messages. So if that happens between two people who actually communicate often in real life, can you imagine? What happens if you have a bunch of millions of people just chatting?
They're just yelling at each other.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not sure they're a lot of them are there for actually have a conversation.
yeah,
They're just there to give their soundbite to try and get a gotcha moment or something like that for the against the other team.
yeah. Exactly. I honestly find it very harmful because it promotes or fails to promote at least proper communication.
Hmm.
And I think nowadays proper communication is very, very not only important, but we need it because people, from what I've noticed, they just don't know how to communicate.
Yep, that's yeah. I can attest to that. Communication is, I guess, a skill that is getting lost.
Would you say that's
Uh,
something that you've generally noticed, or depends on the country?
mm, it is harder for me to say. I think in virtue of me having been an expat in so many countries, so the rapport is not the same as locals would have between them,
True, true.
amongst themselves. So where with me the conversation would revolve around uh, at least in the first instance, like around my travels, the people I've met, the things I've
Yeah, yeah.
seen.
For you, since
It creates a certain bridge,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and a certain dynamic that
Mm,
you may not have between locals. And my profile makes it so I am not sure I would be the uh, best situated to pronounce myself on this.
fair enough.
You would be like, you've lived in Romania for most of your life, and I think you would be a better judge of how you feel communication has gone between like now and maybe 5 or 10 years ago.
I would say that yeah, I would say communication generally has deteriorated, and not only in Romania because well, I haven't been an expert, but I do talk to or I have talked to a lot of people from abroad. The general feeling that I've noticed is that because, and especially in Romania, because people read less and less, um, more and more people are mm, unaware of how to formulate the ideas that they have in their heads and say them verbally or even written. So there's a certain barrier that I've noticed with a lot of people where they simply don't understand or don't know the rules of a proper discussion, or not even the desired outcome of a discussion. So um, I've talked with people, for example, who only wanted to prove that they're right. So I've met a lot of people like that who just want to prove they're right. It doesn't matter to them your arguments. It doesn't matter facts or whatever. He just wants to prove that he's right by any means necessary. So that means that at one point, one person will start raising his voice just to make himself heard, or will talk over other people. And I think those are things that you learn, that your parents should teach you at least. And that's the problem that I see, because with apps like maybe not YouTube, but TikTok, definitely, parents no longer spend the necessary amount of time actually talking to their children as they used to before. They just give them the tablet and, do your thing.
Yeah. Hmm.
So what happens is that the child loses this actual skill of having a conversation. And I noticed that. And I noticed people usually who don't really read and spend too much time on TikTok don't have or have not developed the listening skills necessary to have a proper conversation, or haven't been, taught the just the general social skills of
I
how to
would
conduct
say
yourself in society and how to talk. And
I think one of the skills that people have lost, and that is problematic in my opinion, would be the fact that they forgot that it's okay to disagree with someone. It's fine, and it doesn't mean that it has to end up in a fight. Like you can disagree with someone and still be friends and still be able to discuss things.
yeah, I don't think I've pondered too much about it, but yeah, you're definitely right. This is just because I always, view conversations as, look, this is just my take on it. You don't have to take it personally. You don't have to, so yeah, I never understood why people stop talking after they disagreed with on certain topics. I would say also in this area, yeah, very detrimental as well is, from what I've noticed, people. So when I approach a conversation, my main interest is to find the truth. Now, it doesn't matter if the truth is on my side or on your side or someone else's side. What I want to find out is the truth at the end of the discussion. What a lot of people are doing is they're trying to prove their point, they're trying to sell their truth. And while it's okay to give arguments of why you believe certain things to be the way they are, if you also listen actively while the other person is speaking, and you internalize what the other person has said, and you actually think through them, you have to accept that it's no shame to reach a different conclusion that you've had before, or you change your conclusion entirely. Like, for example, I don't know if I ever told you, but back when was this? I think back when we worked at Ubisoft, I was pretty leftist in the way I think, in the sense that, for example, I thought Obama was a great president, and
You did?
yeah, unfortunately, I'm still ashamed of that, but
Well,
um, I didn't have enough economic and political knowledge to know better back then.
yeah. But back then, it was, as far as I remember, it was absolutely not a topic we would have brushed
Oh,
at
no,
any
no,
point,
no,
actually,
no,
because
but
we were more talking about like languages, culture, maybe, and video games, but not anything political or economical. Did you started listening to like Friedman and so after Ubisoft?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I think you did when you started working at Ray,
Uh, I, f- I think so. Yeah, I think so.
or
That's
was it when you were still at Telus?
no, no, not at Telus, because I didn't have time then, because I was working graveyard shift. Yeah, yeah. It started when I started working at Ray. But the way it came about was weird, because I think I told you I have a friend who lives in Munich, and he moved there. And we spoke every now and then, and we became more better friends when we were at our friend's wedding.
Um, just to put it back, just to make sure am thinking about the same person. Um, is it the one your ex met with?
No,
No. Okay.
which one of my exes? You can take
Well,
say about the first initial, I say, I guess.
the one you were with while I was living with Joanna and Simona.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
She met
to make
him.
sure. Yeah, yeah. So it's that. Okay. Now I have a context. I see who the guy is. Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked a lot, and yeah, it was just around the time of the U.S. elections when Trump was elected. So I even had Facebook at the time. So I was very for Obama. I was very much against Trump, but I was against him just like any other person at the time was. Like,
Eh,
Orange Man bad.
I was not for Trump. I was not for Obama either. Well, first of all, because it it has little to no impact on my life. But um, I wanted Trump to win not because I supported him or his ideas. For the same reason, I would have wanted Le Pen to win in France this weekend.
Really?
To just to see if they could change the status quo that has been going on for so long.
Ah,
That I
okay.
think is not well. That didn't go well at all.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, so but that was it was a very interesting election cycle.
Definitely, definitely was. Yeah, for me, I just started talking with the guy more and more, and at one point he started pitching me ideas. As I say, I used to have like huge arguments with random people on Facebook regarding Trump, and told people, he was a clown, he's not meant to be president, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And my friend called me out on it, and he said, "What do you actually know about politics and economy?" I'm like, well, they're there, this subjects that are meant to be learned and stuff, and politics is boring, and I don't think anyone needs to learn politics, and economics is just supply and demand. And but I didn't know shit, to be honest. That was the cold hard truth. And yeah, we started talking more and more, and he recommended some videos that I should watch. And the first one was regarding Milton Friedman,
Hmm.
and I was just captivated by that man. Like the first video that I saw of him was a video entitled "There's no such thing as a free lunch," and I thought, wow, that sounds very actually interesting. So yeah, I just started listening to him more and more, started reading stuff from him. Then went into to his protege Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell speaks more about the current status of American society and politics, and black culture as well, and what's happening there and why it came to be this way and that sort of thing. So I was very curious, and it took about a month or 2 months where I just continuously watched videos and just soaked up information like a sponge until yeah, I spoke with him again, and I told him, like, dude, I have to be honest, yeah, that kind of changed the way I view things. And it actually did. It really made me view the world very, very differently, because before I was all for universal healthcare, universal basic income, anything for free, until I realized that actually someone has to pay for it. So yeah, that was my journey.
Hmm. Well, I was never under the impression that what people would call free healthcare is free. That didn't didn't make sense. Like I don't see how that could make sense to anyone. Not
If you
that
don't
the
think
system
about
is
it,
a bad one. The fact that you call it free, that's the part that I. It's more a semantic problem that I have with the system than the system itself. Um, but yeah, as we said, this is not going to be the political podcast. This is another one coming in the future. So I think we should maybe move away from this, because there is so much. Like if we start now, we're not going to ever end the recording. It's
true.
we need a dedicated uh, dedicated one
Yeah,
on this.
yeah.